Hi, Blake Gibbons here from Run Diffusion. I just wanted to take you through one of our quick architectural templates that goes through an example of the early stage concepting and sort of visualization phase in architecture for a new project potentially. And so the way that you can create a board, I want to also show you how you can create a board from this template. But going into this template, I wanted to show you the different tools here, and I'm going to just open up the preview. And you'll see here the different tools that I have in this particular template are these 6 tools right here. And we'll start with Flex 2 Pro by Black Forest Labs. Flex 2 Pro is a really great model I'd love for image generation because it has a lot of mid-journey aesthetic in terms of its visual appeal, and just the aesthetic of the image generation model is really, really great. It has a lot of really great detail and other elements to it. And so what I've done here in this particular board template is I wanted to create an early stage sort of concept for this sort of library building. Maybe it's on a university campus somewhere. I wanted to get some ideas around just kind of the structure I'll kind of go into here. And so with this model, what's really great about it is you can actually use really structured prompts with Flex 2 Pro, or it's also an editing model kind of built into it as well. And so you can use really structured prompts, or you can use something that's a little bit more like natural language conversation. And so if I wanted to type in, a commercial office building, oops, I can do that. And I can enhance that prompt with one of our LLM tools, where this will use Gemini in the background to be able to add additional tokens to be able to make that prompt a little bit more structured. And then I can actually edit this here. Or you can grab a prompt that you maybe already have, maybe it's a JSON prompt or something else, and actually just paste that in, and that works really great too. And so kind of starting off, I went a little bit in reverse. I actually had this image that I had generated earlier, and then I created an ink pencil sketch from it. I meant to actually say just ink sketch architectural drawing, but I put pencil in there as well. And so you can see this model has a lot of really great stylization too. So it can actually create sketches. It can create a nice render from a sketch. And so this is kind of like where you can start, is taking a sketch and then turning it into something a little bit rendered. And you can see here my prompt is really, really simple and just more of like a natural language conversational style prompt, where I'm actually asking it to, give me an ink sketch of an architectural drawing of this image. So really, really simple, easy to prompt with, to be able to make changes that you want, and it retains really good style for things you don't want changed. It can also do, if you want to do like a watercolor, it can do things like that as well. It does a really good job with it. I also was just doing a white card mass. What's interesting about this, it got a little bit too creative on me here, where maybe Nano Banana Pro, which I'll show you here in a second for editing, does this a little bit better, but it does create pretty nice white card masses. But I noticed it threw kind of a couch in here versus like what I had actually in the building itself. And so I think Nano Banana Pro might do this if you want to get a white card mass, maybe a little bit better. But kind of going through the iterations, what I really want to do is, this is where I started. So I started with this prompt. It's a little bit more structured, and it generated this image in just a square. And I wanted to get a bunch of different variations of this sort of like wood slatted sort of facade feel, or this wood slatted facade feel to this building that I was kind of going for. And at first it was kind of a single building, and you'll see sort of my prompt maybe change over time. So here's another iteration that I'm using with the same model. Here's my model here. Here's my prompt image size. So it's a square image. And then also gives me the resolution. This is just an iteration of that. Here's another iteration. But it's really like the detail of this model. It's really beautiful, just the detail that it provides with some of the surrounding environmental features, and then just again, the building itself. Again, same prompt, just getting some additional variety. Here's one I actually changed a little bit, where I said a set of circular buildings featuring vertical wood slats and large glass openings. And so you can see here it's actually kind of expanded into maybe a few different buildings. I did that here as well. And another one. And this is where things get really interesting. In this model allows you to actually upload up to 9 reference images. And so you can see here, I can grab these images here, or I could upload a series of up to 9 images, and you can kind of mash those together to be able to create something new. And so you can see here, what I've done is I've combined these 5 images that I created plus my prompt. And I'm basically saying, hey, take all these reference images plus my prompt and give me something new. And so this is the first sort of example of that, where it's given me a new composition based on all those reference images. Here's another one, just again, give me a little bit more variety. Here's another and another. And what I kind of settled on is I actually think I stopped at this one right here. I kind of like this one. I want to take this concept a little bit further. And so what you can do is everything in a board template. So this is a template, and you can create a board workflow from this template. And it would basically drop all these different tools in it. And then you'd also have all these examples you can kind of reference for your project. So if you wanted to see what good prompts would be for something, maybe a similar type of project, but you could change the prompts to kind of adapt to yours. But within this workflow, all of your generations for this tool are kind of containerized and stored within this node or this tool. Then what you can do is open up another tool, and you can drag these reference images down into this other tool for changes. So I'm going to go ahead and click this tool and this negative space here. This allows you to kind of scroll up and down between your tools, or I can collapse them all here. I'm going to go ahead and just open these tools back up. Whatever tool I have activated that's purple here or selected, that's going to open up the drawer of menu options that you see here. So in this particular tool that we were just in, this allows me to select all my different aspect ratios and resolution sizes. And then if I want to go in here, what you do to now edit images with Nano Banana Pro, it's by far one of the best editing models that's on the market for editing and maintaining fine changes within your images. Maybe you want to add additional textures to a building, combine reference textures of a certain materiality, or add elements into an interior like a couch or pieces of furniture specifically. This is a model that allows you to do that really, really well. And so to kind of show you how this works for this use case, I took this building that I ended up liking. It was, where are we at? This one right here. And now I want to make some changes to it. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this image down into Nano Banana Pro, and then I can prompt changes to this image. So the first one I did, I'll scroll down to this image, is I use this as a reference image. So here's my reference image from an image generation model above Flex 2 Pro. And then in Nano Banana Pro, I want to make an edit. So give me an aerial view of the building perspective, change nothing else about the image. So I just want to see it kind of from more of an aerial or top view. And I noticed I actually did spell aerial correctly. I thought I spelled it incorrectly the first time around, but and so even if you have small spelling mistakes, it'll still kind of understand the context of what you're looking for. And so here's the change that I have, where it's taken my building. I'm kind of looking down on it with a little bit different perspective. Again, really good job of kind of maintaining sidewalks where they're going for the most part, and then the building structure just from a different perspective. What's really, really cool about our tool is you can annotate images as well. So Nano Banana Pro actually has a large language model layer on top of it that allows you to, it understands text, it understands what's inside an image. So if you annotate the image with an annotation tool by masking a certain area or putting arrows or annotations on an image, it can understand those really well. And we have that natively within our tool. So what I could do within the tool is I could select an annotation tool on an image and draw just like a box like this. And I said in my prompt here, give me a close-up view to show the fine details of the vertical wood facade material and windows. Focus on the area in the red box in the image. And so when I did that, then it focused specifically kind of on this area. And you can see here's kind of what I get. So I get this sort of bridge that we had in the image here, and then a much more close-up view of what these sort of wood slatted wood looks like and the materiality. Now I kind of want to see what's inside this room. So I'm saying, take me inside of this room, and I kind of want to see, just get an idea for what the environment might be for this future building that we're looking at in the early stages of ideation or concepting, what it might be like in the inside of the building. So take me inside the room to the structure, to view the people in the room, and so I can see the environment outside as well. And you can see I get something like this. So pretty neat, kind of inside. Granted, the faces in here don't look really great, but we have another tool that I'll show you within this workflow to be able to kind of clean those up and improve the resolution. Next thing I wanted to do was just get different perspectives of the building. So taking this perspective, I want to basically look with a camera angle from the left to the right, and you can see that here. And then in this next example, I noticed in my previous example here, just a slight error where this woman's kind of walking across this land bridge here, or this bridge, but there's no doorway, sort of like the bridge to nowhere. And it's okay because it's an early concept, and so there might be some little mistakes here. I'm not looking for deep refinement. I'm just getting ideas. And so, but I did want to put a doorway there, and so it's easy to do. Again, with an annotation tool, I just marked this out kind of in red and said, place a door on the bridge to the other side of the building where I have annotated the image in red, change nothing else about the image. And you can see that kind of added a doorway here. The next thing I did was just get an idea. I was trying to get it to show me kind of inside this room, but it wasn't quite showing me the positioning of the glass as well as I wanted to. There's probably some changes I could make or refine my prompt, but again, because it's early stage, I don't really care that much about that. I just want to kind of get a feel for sort of what the ambiance and the interior might look like in a wood structure like this, in this sort of library type building. I did a few iterations of that to kind of get like what the interior might look like. Here's like another. And then here is another, just a really kind of pretty look with this sort of like roof out here. People sitting around. I kind of love this style. It's really cool. And then lastly, I wanted to change lighting. And so this picture, I basically just asking it to kind of clear up some of the mist. I want to make it a bright sunny day, change nothing else. And you'll see why I want to be able to make a video of time lapse or just seeing different lighting elements on it, which I'll show you here in just a minute with other tools that we have. And so that's just a bright sunny day. I changed one to be evening. You can kind of see that here, where I've asked it to actually change to evening. And so Nano Pro just does a fantastic job of keeping elements the same while changing things that I'm asking for. And then here's one sort of early morning light you can see as well. So just different changes. And so now that I have like the composition that I'm looking for in Nano Pro, I can go ahead and take these images and then use an upscaler. So Nano Pro, you can upscale as well, where I can take any of these images and I could actually generate them up to 4K. But it actually does a really good job of doing what's called a true upscale, where it will upscale your images to a higher resolution. But it doesn't add a lot of generative detail. And something like Magnifique does a lot better job of not only upscaling, but if you want to actually enhance faces or textures or maybe lighting, shadows, or reflections, it does a better job at that, in my opinion. And so I'm going to take some of the images up here that I like, a few of them up here in my original designs, and I want to actually upscale those, and you'll see kind of the difference here. And it's a very powerful tool in that you can upscale up to huge 10,000 by 10,000 pixels, or if you wanted to upscale smaller, obviously you have the sliding scale here that you can do that. And so just to be brief, I upscaled these only 2x. And then the things that I typically change when I'm upscaling, I usually just leave the prompt blank. I don't think it requires a prompt a lot of times, me personally. And then I usually will change the creativity slider and the practicality slider. Creativity will add some generative detail, fill in some additional elements. You kind of want to be careful with this, because if you take it too high, it adds some elements maybe you don't want. Practicality is really good. It adds maybe a bit better shadow, dimensions to shadows, adds a little bit more textural detail and nuance. And so I usually will change this anywhere from like 0 to 3, and then practicality from 0 to 3. And I tend to leave HDR and then resemblance kind of neutral where they are. I also won't make any changes to the engine. I usually just leave that as automatic. There's different options you can kind of play with if you want to. I leave this as automatic, and the model just kind of picks what it feels like might be best for what I'm trying to do. And so looking at these different upscales, so I pulled these images in the same way. I can go in here and basically grab any of my images, just drag them over, or I can select them. Or if you had renders of, from Lumion or Revit or Rhino that you want to actually refine and upscale, you can upload those as well here and upscale a bunch of your images renders the same way. And so going through some of these, you'll see the difference here. So with an upscale that's creative, you can see, here's the upscaled version. A lot of really great additional details where you can see a lot more shadowing on this person, just better faces right here versus kind of what was here before. A little bit more recognizable, definitely more detail on the flowers, better reflections on the stones here. And then on, lighting effect and sort of the reflections through the glass here are a little bit better with the upscale. Here's another one, the evening light. You can definitely see a lot better shadowing lighting, looks a lot better. I did one with the morning light here, which you can see kind of the same thing. Give me some really great detail. And then here's one with the wood grain sort of up close. You can see there's a lot more detail with this one, the upscaled version. Here's another one. So here's the one that we had from Nano Banana Pro. Faces look okay, but with an upscale, it just greatly enhances them. As you can see, there's a lot better detail with the faces, which I like a lot more. If I want to, here's another example. I kind of won't go through all of these, but you get the idea. So it's a really powerful way to enhance textures, enhance faces with Magnific. So I tend to actually take all my sort of my final compositions that I'm kind of laying out maybe for my visualizations, and then I will upscale them a lot of times with the Magnific. And then from there, I can actually tell sort of a visual story and animate images. So there's really great models within Run Diffusion. Again, all these tools in a single platform interface where I have Veo 3.1 from Google, which is one of the best image model or video models on the market. And then I can take the compositions that I made up here and use frame interpolation to make a video. And in this case, I wanted to do kind of a quick time-lapse study. And so I took my morning light view, which is this one right here, and then my evening light view, and I just dragged them over to first frame and then last frame. And then I put a prompt in here to basically stitch those together. You can kind of see my prompt when I bring up the video here. I can select what video resolution I want, what the aspect ratio should be, whether I want to generate audio, and so on and so forth. And so most of the time when you're using prompts here, you're going to want to use sort of camera type direction type prompts. If you're wanting to have like a drone animation flyover or a walkthrough through a space. So let me go ahead and open this video and you can kind of get an idea what this did. So it just does a really, really great job of basically showing sort of lighting effect and giving you a really good idea of kind of what this, the meaning the space might hold for you. So my prompt is really simple, a time-lapse video showing lighting changes on a building from morning to evening, inspiring theater music plays in the background. The time-lapse shows people quickly moving and going to show movement in and around the space. And here's all like the video resolution aspect, metadata that it saves for you as well. I like Seedance as well. I wanted to create some different video effects of basically where I went from sketch to sort of render. Seedance is a really inexpensive video model. It's quite a bit less expensive than Veo 3.1. Also generates sound, can generate up to 720p, and then also does first frame and last frame or start frame, end frame as well. I find that Seedance does a little bit better job of animating. It's a great model that animates sketch drawings a little bit better and sort of 3D motion of those sketch drawings. And so I have one here that I'll kind of show you. And my prompt is really simple, a slow 3D rotation of a building that is sketch drawn, the center of the focus for the building. For the video, dramatic theater music plays in the background. And for this one, I actually just had a start frame. So I just used this image right here for my start frame and then animated that. And then this one, I used a start frame, end frame, and I wanted to kind of show you where you will go from sketch and have sort of drop in elements where it turns into a more realistic render. And you have this. So I have my start frame is this sort of sketch, and then I have, elements of the final image iteratively drop into place to get my end frame, which is this sort of evening photo of the same space. They're really cool. And then in composition software like DaVinci, you can stitch these videos together for a client presentation or other thing to make them a little bit more polished. Lastly, what I want to show you is our video upscaling tool. A lot of videos are starting to actually upscale natively in 4K, but for those that are not just yet, Veo 3.1 we just released, we will be releasing I think this week, where it will actually generate natively up to 4K. So you don't necessarily have to have a video upscaler, but there are some models that still don't do that. And if you do want to upscale those videos that you have to 4K, you can do those with a video upscaler. And I happen to like CBR. I think it does a really great job. You can take any of these videos here, same thing. I'll open this video tool and then I can drag these over and then upscale them to 4K if I want, and select my output quality if I want. I just selected high. You could do maximum, so it's a little bit better even yet. And you can kind of see here, same videos, but just upscaled in 4K. So the quality of this video is going to be a lot better than what it was in the regular Seedance because it is 4K versus 720. Here's the next one. This one's definitely better. I can definitely tell for animating my sketch. And then I have my Veo 3.1 1080p video that I upscaled into 4K, and it just looks really awesome. So that was the workflow for early stage sort of visualizations for architecture. Hope you enjoyed it. This is a great example to get some really great prompt techniques and ideas, show you how to use annotations by marking up images. And if you want to create a board from this template, which will be available publicly, you can do that here by creating a board, and all these example images and tools will automatically drop into that for you to kind of take things from there. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much.